Ventspils Latvia. Hello and good day. Welcome to Ventspils. Ventspils is on the coastal area here in Latvia. The Baltic Sea is just about 2 miles away, maybe 3 kilometers. Our plan is to get that direction, but we're going to cruise around Ventspils and show you, one, why it's called the flower capital of Latvia. That flower cow we just showed is what greets visitors and residents as they come back into the city, maybe from Riga or somewhere else around the country. Over 2,000 flowers make up the flower cow. The significance of the cow dates back to the early 2000s when they actually had the cow parade here in Ventspils, and now around the city there are 24 different cow sculptures that you can find. We will not find them all today, but I'm sure we'll see more as we go. Come along, Ventspils. A delightful little pathway here in between the roads that run north and south. We have this covered pathway. Pretty much I get to walk this every single day, weather permitting. Ventspils is quite rainy here in the summertime. Yesterday was almost a no, 2 days ago was a complete washout. Yesterday was a morning washout, okay in the early afternoon, but by 6 p.m. it rained until about midnight. You take this path up, you get to the bus station and also my favorite coffee shop, which I think is going to be the first stop along the way. Actually, the first stop is going to be at the Spar, coming up here on the right side. Check out and see if they got restocked with Cafola. Not sure why Spar carries Cafola here in Ventspils, but the first week I was here I never saw it. Then I saw it last week, and every time I would pass by I'd usually grab one. A few people out waiting for the bus to take them somewhere. Alright, we're going to get up to the end of this path and have to go right, so we'll go right, get back to Spar. Delightful blue skies above, and the grass has been freshly cut, as I can see it by looking at it, but I can also smell it and probably start sneezing here before too long. If you look at a few more flowers in the garden area, then we're not going to catch this green light to go across, so all right, we'll wait for the red guy to turn green. Then Spar. Heading near and near to the bus station. This is the sports park, one of many in the city. You see 2 basketball courts set up there, and back here is the indoor water park. Gets a little bit more activity probably in the winter months than here in the summer. There's actually another water park that is down along the sea, and since we're here latter stages of June, that one is open for the season now, and actually saw that in action about a week or so ago, so we should make that direction and get a glimpse of that. And right through this little pathway is the Ventspils bus station. No train service to Ventspils. If you're coming here and you're not driving, you're taking a bus. Right through the trees, you get a look at the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Latvia here in Ventspils. That sits on the main city square. Here you get a look at a cappuccino and a little cinnamon breakfast. Well, the flower theme continues. I believe I mentioned flower capital of the country. Well, out of the coffee shop in a right turn, we just walked through what would be kind of described as like the main shopping, dining area of the downtown city area. The downtown itself is not that large, and really there's not a ton of options in there as far as dining and things such as that, but just a handful. As we come along this direction, this is more on the a little bit more of a larger route. The buses will come up this way to go out of town, but there are some pretty cool things that lie up ahead, and you see some more decorated trees there in the center and another cow. There are also, I think it's 12 fountains that are spread through the city, and I think we'll get our first one up here behind the Narvesen. We'll enter into the park and go that direction. And just like in Kuldiga, you got signs to tell you where everything is. Everything there in kilometers, Latvian on top, English for the rest of us down below. As you walk along that path there from the Narvesen, one of the cooler sculptured fountains. The umbrella fountain. May not be the exact title of it. I'll put it below. And a few more flowers out here on the pathway. I described to somebody, they said, how's the city of Ventspils? I said, it's like the entire place is a park. And this is kind of what I mean. We'll cross and we'll continue on into another section of the park. Kind of a rarity throughout Europe. Complimentary toilets here in the park. No charge. It's amazing the amount of traffic that is now in the city here in Ventspils. When I got here a couple weeks ago, earlier part of June, hardly any traffic. And now we're out here on a, not quite the weekend, heading into the weekend. But I think the summer holidays are arriving. Here for the Baltic countries. Those are awesome looking, aren't they? Just a little further walk up and we get another little fountain to check out. What a nice way to pass the afternoon. Come out here, have a seat on the bench, or walk your dog and enjoy the water show. Well, this fountain is the largest one that we'll see on our stroll through Ventspils today. Built just about 10 years ago, 2016. It is modeled after the whalefish frigate from the 1600s, or Valfish, as the sign said. English translation, whalefish. This little plaza area down here is also kind of a community gathering place. A marathon for the city was run through here just a couple of weekends ago. And standing adjacent is the concert hall. And there's also a little cafe over on the left side. It has great coffee. We'll continue. If I haven't said it before, I'll say it now. Asked to describe the city of Ventspils, I said it's like a giant park. That's really what it feels like. Even here on the sidewalk and the bike path next to the road, you have two lines of pathways, but check out the trees. As they built these trees to make a canopy over the pathway. What you're thinking, if it's hot in the summertime, that would be great, but it's also good if it's raining out. It gives you a little bit of a break from the precipitation. So a major highlight of a trip to Ventspils is visiting the Olympic Center, which is the sports hub for the city. A basketball arena, a hockey rink. Out here through the fence looks like maybe a little football training going on. There's tennis courts, there is workout areas, there is track facilities. So just a lot of cool things in and around here that probably gets more usage in the cold part of the year, like with the basketball and the hockey and things such as that. But we'll take a little walk back and show the track area before we go back into the park. Got a little snail sculpture there. Can't really see very clear, probably on the GoPro. Turtle. And then that thing. Adjacent to the Olympic sports arenas is the Rinka Park. A community gathering place for the fine folks of Ventspils. Down here just a few days ago, during the summer solstice, I think Ligo Day, had a live band, some beer and food tents set up. A big gathering place. Straight ahead, a place anytime I've walked through this park on a few occasions, always a big crowd here. It is like this bicycle scooter pathway. As you can maybe kind of make out, it kind of goes up and down. There's different ramps and jumps and challenges to it. This was just opened within the last year, if I read correctly. And a few more sculptures down this direction. So we're just basically glancing through the outside of the park here, but a very cool place. A lot of open areas. Through the trees over there is a pond with another fountain. Maybe we'll see that on the way back up this direction. But we're going to head down towards the sea now. We're getting a little bit closer. That is the name of the small river that runs through most of the city, adjacent to the Venta River, which is the big one that empties out into the Baltic Sea here at Ventspils. As we are on our way to the Baltic Sea, we had to do a little detour. Come check out the flowered bunny rabbits. Also, in front of a train stop, there is actually a single gauge train line that runs from this station all the way down. See the pathway there we just walked up, and then the tracks, it runs all the way down into the park by the sea. So another highlight here in Ventspils is the adventure park. The adventure park, that is not a natural hill, that is a man-made hill. If you're here in the winter time, it is a snow-covered man-made hill. Allows for like little snowboarding, things such as that. This time of year, you have the alpine coaster that's in action. Let's see if we can't get a little closer. All right, it's €5 to do this ride. The good thing is we don't have to walk all the way up the hill. We get pulled along. I'm not going to be able to film coming down because you got to keep both hands on the little levers here so you get the view going up. Maybe we'll get a camera shot from the top. Oh yeah, you definitely are not filming on the way down. I'm digging it. I've always wanted to do an alpine coaster. Although I know this is not really alpine when it comes to like Austria and places like that, but you know what? We get some views. If you're under a certain age, I don't remember, 10 or 12, it's €3. But there is no charge to come into the park itself. Oh, check this out. From way high above. Hell, it's worth €5 for the ride up. There's your first look at the Baltic Sea. See you on the bottom. That was a blast for €5. Certainly worth doing. A few more highlights here. Looks like a BMX type track or circuit over here. You got different jumps and things such as that, kind of like we saw back in Rinka Park. Looks like some trampolines, a little jumpy castle down and beyond. There's tubing. When we first walked in on the big hill, I saw like some tubes going up. Ventspils markets itself as a family fun destination, and places like this, totally understand. All right, from the adventure park. Now you've already had to switch over to the second GoPro battery. For some reason they cut out when they get to about 30%. They are several years old, so maybe that's why. So we'll have to use this one sparingly because we still got a lot to see and do. So we're heading through the forest now to get down towards the Baltic Sea. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of the train while we're cutting through the woods. Pretty good timing heading through the woods. Over 100 years old is that locomotive. All right, we'll continue on. How lucky was that? We got to see it. Oh, kind of neat on our walk through the woods. There's a little train station here in the middle of the forest. Even a little park bench, a little shelter, I guess, in case it's raining. This is the train tracks that we just saw the the little locomotive go on just moments ago. Back here in the midst of the pine trees. Hear the birds above in the distance. Hear the waves of the Baltic Sea crashing. Probably not going to hear that on the camera. But you got two sounds above you other than the birds. It's the wind in the pines, and then the sea, which is not more than just a couple hundred meters away as we'll walk our way out that direction. We'll cut through the path here and avoid the big dog. Ventspils has absolutely trumped every expectation I had. Can't really find a negative about the city and the area at all. The exception may be the weather. Majority of the month of June, it's been rather cool, cooler than normal. Even the locals I spoke to said, man, it's usually a little bit warmer than now. One day over 17 degrees Celsius, 65 Fahrenheit over the last several weeks. Many days of rain, which has washed out a little bit of the sightseeing, but outside of the weather, everything else has been fantastic. I like how even after I've been here for a few weeks, I can still go out, take a different direction, and end up on some path or some area of the city that I hadn't seen yet. Like this part I'm going through now. I've walked back through this park area on a number of occasions, but this right here is brand new. Have good restaurants, great coffee shops. The coffee shop went to this morning. Certainly going to miss those little breakfast snacks. I've kind of gotten hooked on those to, maybe not every day, but about every other day I've had one. And they're quite affordable, 65, 70 cents a piece. Then I think the restaurant I'm going to hit up today was one that I had gone to on the very first week in town. One of those pleasant weather days, because it has a really cool garden that you can sit out and enjoy a cocktail, and then it's like a pizza place, sandwiches and different things such as that. Out of the forest, we get a look at where the train line splits. One direction back up to the adventure park, and then the other one coming back down here towards the sea. So out of the forest and into another park. Now, the Baltic Sea is just beyond those trees. I could turn left at any point and be on the water. I think there are 8 or 10 different entrances to get into the beach area. But this park is full of these old anchors, and they kind of dot the landscape all up and down the pathways. Also up ahead, as part of the park area down here by the water is a like a jungle path, I think is how they name it or describe it. Kind of keeping in line with the family friendly montage. It's a I don't know, it's like a ropes obstacle course type thing for the little ones, but there are several different sections to it, so it can take you a pretty good bit of time if you want to go through the entire thing. I think I hear the train coming back, so let's get across before it reappears. Another anchor here in front of us. Got this section of the park pretty much to myself. Haven't seen a whole lot of other people along the pathway. So this is the jungle trail that snakes back through the forest here, and it just goes on like this with different sort of fitness and challenge activities, you know, balance beam, ropes and things such as that, all the way back through the park, with little different sculptures along the path as well. And then you get the natural sounds of the birds above that make you feel like you're in a jungle. Pretty cool find. Welcome to the beach at Ventspils. I mean, absolutely terrific sand. And the most people I've seen seaside in the weeks that I've been here. And we got a cafe. Prego Pizza. The garden with the picnic table set out. I may have the only table in the sun right now, which I'm happy about. But it's right off the promenade. Right out there you can see the river. We got a sandwich on the way. Start out with some breadsticks with pesto, mozzarella, and a little olive oil. That's a sandwich. I think it's salami, some vegetables, and I don't know what else is in there. I'll tell you what, the bread is the best thing ever. And the breadsticks are phenomenal. We have said grazia te prego and are back out here on the water. This cow just got a fresh paint job. I'll give it to you from this side as well, looking back into the sun. Probably not as clear as the other direction, but about 2.5 weeks or so ago, they were down here repainting him. We are down by the docks. You see all the industrial looking stuff across the river there. Now there is a touristy boat that one can go on. I think it is €5. That's a little tourist boat that I mentioned earlier. I'll title it below, but it's also titled on the side of the vessel as well. So I think it goes up and just does a big U-turn, about 40 minutes of an excursion, although a pretty good looking crowd up on top of the deck. €5, I believe, the charge. One of the architectural highlights here in Ventspils is the Castle of the Order of Livonian Knights. Also the oldest building in the city. Now houses a museum. There is an admission fee to go in. I'm not certain what that is, but this is a outside look of it. Dates back to the 13th century, 1200s, and sits right here on the water.